Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for BroadwayWorld. One of this season's most eagerly awaited new shows is the Olivier Award-winning Matilda the Musical, which has come to Broadway's Shubert Theatre. It is directed by Tony Award winner Matthew Warchus, and we're here on opening night to celebrate with the company.
What about rules, honey? Rules?
I believe that Matilda Wormwood is an exception to the rules.
An exception to the rules in my school?
You'll never again be subject to abuse, for you're an extra boost. She'll call a truce, Bruce. With every swallow you are tightening the noose. We never thought it was possible, but here it is coming true. We can have our cake and eat it too.
Sure. It's opening night. How do you feel?
Good. We feel good. I mean, it's been some time since we were actually at the coalface, and I think we both feel sort of so spoilt because we flew in yesterday, and all this absolute focused, obsessive hard work that's been going on in the last 5 weeks pays off in us being able to take the credit for this piece, you know. And so I feel relieved because I'm invested in it emotionally, but mostly I just feel grateful that someone, Matthew and all the associate directors and all these actors are putting their blood and sweat into it, and we just swan around, you know.
Who came to the project first? Was it you or Tim? Who came first?
It was me first. The RSC came to asked me if I wanted to do a musical of Matilda, and so I did a script version, and then I worked on that on and off for about a year, and then Matthew took a look at it, liked it, and then he started looking for people, and then he approached Tim, and Tim came on board, and then they ruined everything. From that moment on, it was downhill.
Yeah.
I mean, that
it was a compromise from then on.
Oh, that was a great show, but we'll never know what it was.
It was a beautiful play.
But it was
very serious.
It was a great play.
Matilda was 6'5" in that one.
Yeah. But it was from then on, that's when it's sort of like you think the work's done, and then these blokes come along and make there's a lot more work to do. You know, but it was great.
Yeah.
And talk about writing this score.
I don't know. I worked off the script. I mean, I knew the story and I know all Dahl's work very well, but I didn't go back to the book. I just used the script as the source text, and I just try to. I mean, I'm not equipped to be particularly intellectual about composition. I don't read or write music. I haven't seen many musicals. I'm not trained or I've been taught to write lyrics. I just try to, and because I'm not equipped to over-intellectualize it, I try to use that as my asset and try to respond as sort of viscerally as I can using my limited palette. I just sort of go, well, how should it feel and what should they say? And it's kind of trying to create as few steps between me and the text. Try to just go, it should feel like this, so this is the color of it, and you know it's sort of fairly lo-fi way of writing, but I loved it, and part of me felt like I didn't deserve to be working with these people at this level, and part of me thought I'm the guy, I should be doing this, you know. Part of me felt entitled because I love Dahl and I like funny words and I write comic songs, and I thought, oh, this will be good.
I sort of realised during the process of this, I'd always thought that, I mean, collaboration is about strength, you know what I mean? When you collaborate and you collaborate with the right people, you end up looking at something. I mean, one of the things I enjoy about looking at Matilda is sort of looking at it and knowing, I mean, that I could never have done it. You know, it couldn't be me, you know what I mean? I mean, obviously, because I can't write music and stuff, but even that aside, just the way it is, it's not. I know it's
not a Dennis Kelly piece.
It's all of us, you know. It's everyone that worked on it. So that's
I
quite
always
enjoyable.
watch it and feel embarrassed because you swan around. I go, yeah, I've got a musical, and I sort of take ownership of it in my head, and then I come and watch it and go, oh God, it's nothing to do with me. I'm like this much, you know.
Take me back to the beginning of what attracted you to want to do this.
Well, I've worked with Matthew a lot. There's a lot of us on the creative team who've worked together for a long time, so that's obviously a plus. And the story Roald Dahl's work is part of all of our childhoods, and it was irresistible on that level, but also because of the group of people that were going to be working on it. It was a treat, and we knew working with the RSC that we would have some comfort, some time, some patience, and without an immediate commercial pressure to push things forward, which is rare when we're doing things on this kind of scale.
What were the challenges for you? Were there some?
There's lots. I mean, we had to, when we started, we were on a thrust stage, and we had to, I had to get a schoolroom on there, and living room, bedroom, and all sorts of stuff. So scenically, it was quite a challenge because we were on a thrust stage with no backstage ready to speak of. So the show that we're seeing now is enjoying the benefits of all of that sort of rigorous work that we had to do because we didn't have the normal resources of a normal theatre.
I'm just taking it all in right now. People seem to be thrilled, and I'm thrilled that they're thrilled, and I'm just happy to be along for the ride. Yeah.
Talk about this wild role you get to play.
I know. It's preposterous. I don't normally get to play villains, so it's an exciting thing. In a way, he embodies some of the things that I dislike most in humanity, which is daftness and cruelty. But in the end, I think it's so well written by Roald Dahl and by Dennis Kelly that he has a little bit of humanity, which I cling to desperately as an actor. And now I'm starting to really enjoy being sort of terrible and cruel. Now that I'm getting into it, it's actually a really fun part to play. Yeah.
Tell me what it's been like working with your director, Matthew Warchus.
Man, well, I've never quite worked on, I've worked on something that's transferred from England before, but working on a show that's sort of set is a new experience for me. And so I was coming into a role that had already been originated. But so there was a structure that I walked into, you know what I mean? But within that structure, he gave me an immense amount of freedom, which at first felt sort of frightening, but then I began to grab onto the pieces of structure that were there, and in a way, I think I found more freedom within that, and he supported that freedom because I think he believes in the people that he casts, and so he wasn't asking me to portray what someone else had already chosen. He had perhaps where I needed to walk on from and where I needed to go out, but within that, I had my own opportunity to create the role and to create my version of Harold Wormwood through what I'd read of Roald Dahl and also through the script. And so at first it was a really new experience, but then actually it allowed me a new sort of freedom that I haven't quite felt, yeah.
So tell me what it's been like working on this show.
I mean, from day one, you knew it was a special project, and I think it's just been joy and fun every day. There's a lot of hard work, but they've made it so fun, and these kids have made it so fun to come to work. That's just been awesome. It's been amazing.
Talk about this great role you get to play.
I love her, and not many people do love her. Mrs. Wormwood is the worst mother in the world, but I love that she is so stupid and just doesn't care. She just, makes everything work for her, and I really love that about her. She's loud.
Talk about her great look.
Her look is fantastic. She's, beautiful, beautiful natural blonde hair, natural makeup, really. It's not drag queeny at all. I think she's understated and, she's cinched in. I think she's very much a lady. And, it's a little bit like me tonight. It's a little tacky, but it's in the good way. Yeah.
I would say gorgeous.
Oh, thanks.
So tell me what you love about the material. This was so beautifully transformed from the book to the stage.
I was a huge fan of the book, and so when I heard about the show, I of course went, oh, of course, that's an easy musical. It's going to be for kids of all ages, really. And they got it right in London, so it was an easy transfer for us, and it's just been a blast. The story's so touching, and it's not a kid's show. Dahl doesn't write for kids. It's for everyone. So I think it's been really special to see adults and kids love it so much.
It's opening night. How do you feel?
Same as I always feel on opening nights here. I don't know, this is probably my 10th or 11th show here now. I feel sort of buoyed up by the enormous warmth that there always is and enthusiasm here. We're not very good at that kind of celebration in the UK, to be absolutely honest. Our opening nights are a little bit low-key. So it's fun, and yet it comes at a time when we're all absolutely exhausted. So it's exactly it's a kind of shot in the arm. We don't quite know where we are or what we're doing anymore at this point, and what we all need is a few days off. But no, it's good. It's nerve-wracking bringing something as unconventional, slightly offbeat as Matilda is to Broadway, because in some ways it's not what people are expecting. If they've seen the movie, perhaps, or it's not a conventional musical, really. And so we didn't know whether it would work. But then I keep reminding myself we didn't know the same questions hung over it in London as well. There aren't a ton of shows like Matilda on in the West End either. It's always going to be a little idiosyncratic and a bit different. And it's just a relief to see it landing each time and working in each new audience, in each new territory. This is, without question, one of the funnest experiences I've had. 3 years of developing something with two people that really make me laugh more than anyone I know. We spent a very high proportion of our time just in fits of laughter. But their standards are very high as well. They're funny people, but they're actually very rigorous people as well, both of them. They're very, I want to say, they care a lot. They don't easily compromise with each other, and that's a good sign, I think. They believe, they've got their own values, and so it was fun, but it was rigorous working as a sort of in a triangle we had, developing the piece, and but I think the kind of the way that they would each defend their own territory has resulted in the bar being raised as a result.
It's lovely to have, to be here with the RSC opening this great show, Matilda, at the same time as opening Julius Caesar down on the road at BAM. It's a wonderful week for the RSC.
So what was it like today for you and tonight?
It was a blast. I mean, I kept away from backstage because I knew the nerves would be high. But in the house, there was just a spirit of joy and surprise. That's what's great about this show. You don't expect it to be so funny, to appeal to such a wide audience. And there are new jokes that weren't there in Stratford. Or at least I must have missed them when I saw them in Stratford. It's just lovely. It's a definition of pure joy.
Now tell me what you've learned about the show between Stratford, the West End, and now Broadway.
I guess there's been the ability to try things out, to try different. I mean, a lot of the work was done before we ever went near rehearsal. But I guess also they used the previews both to work in the 4 sets of Matildas, but also to work out how it was working in front of an American audience, whether the humor was universal. And hey, it seems to be so. I was amazed by those kids' British accents. I thought that was the one thing I was thinking to myself. I know they say it's great, and I know they say they do good English accents, but my goodness, they do. They really, really have worked hard at that.
What was tonight like for you?
Well, it was great. It just felt like a normal show, really, because, we've been kind of doing it for 5 weeks in previews, and you just kind of want to get through it and have the celebration, and it felt just like any other night.
You were stunning in this show.
Thank you.
Tell me what it's like. Talk about the role that you play and what you love about her.
I love her because I think that she is a survivor in many ways. She's figured out a way to survive, and she is still capable of giving so much to her students and, to Matilda specifically. I love her for her vulnerability and her strength.
Talk about working with the 4 different girls, what that's like.
It keeps it fresh every day. I mean, they all have different things that they bring to the table that's positive, and so it keeps it alive for me. I mean, no performance is the same as the one the night before, and that's fantastic as an actor. It's really, really great.
Talk about working with your husband.
Well, he's fantastic, and we don't choose to work together that much because we have 3 children, and that makes logistics a little bit hard, but it's been a wonderful experience for our whole family, and we work really well together, so I trust him completely.
What's made Matilda so special to work on, and what audiences are taking away from it?
Well, I think there's so many different themes that are a thread throughout. I mean, partly that, you know, you could take your own power into your own hands to change how your life's going to turn out. I just love the end line, which is nobody but me is going to change my story. You can't blame it on everybody else. You have to have your own inner strength to get through life, and it's not going to be easy. And that's what it says to me the most.
You know, all of our effort goes into making the thing, and it's like acting's like sport, exactly like sport. You kind of got to keep your eyes on the target, and it's quite difficult sometimes to know what the target is. But and so all of this stuff is it's like playing in the biggest stadium in the land, isn't it? And you've just got to make sure that you play a good game. And then now you get here, and then you stick a microphone in my face, and I can talk about what it feels like. But actually, I'm still sort of 2 hours behind myself, thinking, it takes a little while to disengage from the kind of focus I think it requires to do a job well. So that's how I honestly feel. At the same time, I feel amazing. I feel amazing just to be here. The point about this character is that she's larger than life, but she's alive and she's real. And the only way that we can really enjoy her is because we recognize her. We recognize that people like that exist. And she, the dial is turned up on some of these characters, but they're not characters that you don't recognize. They're people with attributes and ways of behaving that you absolutely see. I think Dahl was really good at that, drawing on things that we all kind of nod to as we're reading, and thinking, yeah, that really nails it. And so the point about a character like that is that you've got to be able to inhabit this sort of huge thing, at the center of which is a smaller person than you are often. The same is true of that character. I don't know how people recognize that. I don't know how, the casting process is a mystery to most actors. Which way is the wind blowing on any given night? And I met Matthew. We had a fairly brief chat. I knew his work. I hoped he knew mine, and we went away, and I got a call 15 minutes later saying, would you like to do it? And I said, yes, thanks very much. That's pretty much how it went.
Well, congratulations. You're all making your Broadway debut. How does it feel?
It feels pretty amazing, and to believe that we're really making a Broadway debut, it's kind of crazy to think about, because you're like, oh my God. And the whole time you're doing the show, the audience is black, so you can't see them. But when they're in the bows, there's so much light, and you see, wow, look at all those people. How many watched us, and it's just so cool. It's so fun. I love doing everything, and yeah, it's really fun. To me, it's just magical. It's so amazing seeing you just do a show and you tell people a story. It's like you're reading from a book. I love it because it's just in Broadway. It's just so real when you perform, but just like any other play. But it's just so much. It's just so amazing just being out on that big, enormous stage and just telling that story.
So what it's been like working on this show? What has it been like creating it?
Creating it, when we first started out in rehearsals, we only knew a little bit. But then when we did the dress rehearsals, it was like, I can't believe I put all this together. So creating it was probably one of the most interesting things that we've ever seen, come together. It was cool seeing the whole process, one by one, kind of page turning in a book, come all together to the end.
For you?
We've been working bit by bits in rehearsal, but then when we finally had one rehearsal where we did the whole show, it was wow, I never realized that there was that much in it, and it's really so fun to watch, and the parts you don't do. Well, the creating process was really cool. And when we did the first run through, I felt like I didn't know if I knew the whole thing, and then I did it, and I'm like, wow, that's a lot. When we just did the little parts, I thought that it was a lot less than it actually was all put together. So it was really cool putting it together. Well, like Millie said, it's like tiny little parts, almost like of a cookie, let's say. Tiny little parts. And when you put them together, you get this really tasty, enjoyable cookie. So it's kind of like that.